Actually, Miami of last year, I was blowing up, my phone was blowing up, and I tried not to look at it a lot. And Rafa sent me a message, but I saw it like 4 days after.
He was buried in
Yeah,
your DMs.
so I left him undelivered for 4 days, and I almost died. Don't do that, guy. But he was super nice. Yeah, he got it.
What did you write back? Because Moise didn't know what to say. I told him just say thank you. I really appreciate the text. But what did you say to Rafa?
I mean, I said, first of all, I apologized for getting back to him so late. But no, I said thank you, and I'm fortunate enough to have seen him many times, be able to see him many times. So yeah, I say thank you all the time.
Many athletes mark a major victory and then carry forward. Eala marked her 3-set rally against Siegemund at the Miami Open before casually noting during her post-match chat that Rafael Nadal once sent her a message which she kept unopened for 4 days. The interviewer's response told everything. The tennis community's reply showed the remainder. Leave your comment below. What do you think Rafael Nadal told Eala after her Miami run last year, and do you feel moments like this reveal just how far she has already progressed within the game? Tell us what you think. Share your thoughts.
We had Moise Kwame, the 17-year-old. He had his first ATP win come up here. He said he got a DM right after the match from Novak Djokovic.
Oh, wow.
Have you had any player or celebrity that has reached out to you that was extra special?
Well, yeah, I mean, yesterday, Peggy Go messaged me because I mentioned her on my story, and she messaged me back, and I was like, oh my gosh, and she was in my box today. I was super happy. Actually, Miami of last year, I was blowing up, my phone was blowing up, and I tried not to look at it a lot. And Rafa sent me a message, but I saw it like 4 days after.
He was buried in your DMs.
Yeah, so I left him undelivered for 4 days, and I almost died. Don't do that, guy. But he was super nice. Yeah, he got.
He was genuinely kind, and she acknowledged it. From there, begin with the contest, because the Nadal moment only makes sense when you grasp what Eala had just endured to achieve it. 3 sets lasting 3.5 hours with Siegemund across the net, applying her usual tactics, the delays, the disputes with the official, even a break at the opening of the second set intended to disrupt momentum just as Eala was finding her rhythm. The opening set reached a tie break even though Eala had been the stronger player for much of it. The next set turned into a declaration. After she adjusted her focus, the deciding set confirmed what the previous one had begun to show, that once this athlete resolves that mind games will not affect her, they lose all impact. After it ended, Eala stepped into the post-match discussion with a voice that clearly reflected the battle. She apologized for the strain, explaining she had spent 3.5 hours on court giving everything, and it was evident then. The interviewer questioned her about the intensity she displayed at the finish, the shout of triumph, the raw surge of feeling after the last point, and whether that reaction had always been part of her.
People reaching out to you, congratulating you. You could potentially get Iga Swiatek in the next round. Rematch from here last year, one of the biggest wins of your life. What would you think about that rematch here in Miami?
I mean, I would love for it to happen. You know, I'm happy, really happy about this win, that I'm able to set myself up for a third round, whether it's with Iga or Magda. I think it's, you know, it's the fact that I'm here is a really good, it's a really good step for me. Yeah.
Well, you bring such beautiful energy to the court every time you step on, Alex. Congratulations on the win today, and best of luck going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Her reply was one of those instances that resonates more because it was entirely spontaneous. She explained that this is no longer the junior stage, and that each contest now feels like everything is on the line since she has reached a tier where every opponent competes relentlessly. She referenced the Australian Open Manila, the 500 events, and the tour she has been competing on this season, highlighting the standard that makes every victory truly difficult. She added that she gives her all in matches like these, and that is why the feelings surface so strongly at the finish. She has deserved that release, every bit of it. That response reveals something significant about her mindset at present. She is not simply relieved to get through. She is not viewing major wins as unexpected outcomes. She is approaching each encounter for what it truly is, a serious, demanding, high-pressure sporting battle requiring full dedication, and the reaction afterward is simply the natural outcome of that effort. Once the result is decided, that reflects the outlook of someone performing at a high level without being intimidated by it. The interviewer then shifted to the venue, marking the first time Eala had returned to that main arena since her 2025 Miami Open breakthrough, where she entered as a wild card, ranked 140, defeated Galina Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek en route to the quarterfinals, and advanced to the semifinals before falling to Jessica Pegula in 3 sets. That performance transformed Her career, it reshaped how she was viewed within the sport, it influenced scheduling decisions, and altered sponsor perception. It changed everything, returning to that same stage a year later, as the 31st seed with 390 points to defend alongside a growing following that had tracked her across multiple regions, and with James Blake confirming before the event that she would remain on the main court because a smaller setting was no longer practical. That return carried understandable tension. She acknowledged feeling those nerves, but then shared a perspective that briefly paused the exchange. She said even after dropping the opening set, she felt satisfied with her level of play, her ability to stay competitive, and the knowledge that her preparation had already been completed before arriving at the event. So it was not a situation where everything depended on this moment. The groundwork had been laid, the conditioning was ready, the performance level was established, and the confidence built. From the FIA MVP recognition, the Indian Wells showing, and all the progress since leaving Miami the previous year was already with her before stepping onto the court, that represents a different form of belief compared to a wild card entry. A wild card arrives with freedom and little expectation, while a seeded competitor enters with preparation, identity, and the conviction that she belongs not as an outsider but as a rightful contender. Her response about handling nerves demonstrated that she recognizes this distinction and has completed the mental shift. The discussion then moved to the spectators and took a light-hearted turn when she was asked if any location had unexpectedly strong Filipino support. She smiled and replied that there was none in particular because they are present everywhere, stating it plainly as someone who has traveled enough on tour to realize that Filipino supporters appear at every stop. However, she did highlight the Australian Open, recalling seeing footage after one of her matches showing a line stretching outside her court, which she described as remarkable since she had been playing in qualifying, not even in the main draw yet, and still the queue to watch her was longer than anything she had experienced. That stood out, because at that time her ranking and recognition were still developing, yet crowds were already gathering, waiting outside a qualifying court to see a player many in the sport had not yet discovered. The Miami event director echoed that realization ahead of this season, noting that he learned from the previous year that Eala and Joel Fonca needed placement on the largest courts available, because spectators would come regardless of capacity, explaining that global interest in both players had grown to the point where their matches drew audiences from across the world, creating an atmosphere that felt like home. The prediction held true. The main arena at Hard Rock Stadium came alive during her clash with Siegemund with an intensity usually saved for deeper stages. The Filipino supporters delivered, as they always do, arriving in full numbers, staying engaged throughout, and ensuring the energy reflected the battle unfolding on court. Then the conversation shifted in a way that captured everyone's attention. The interviewer brought up Moise Konga, the 17-year-old who had recently secured his first ATP victory, and later shared that Novak Djokovic had messaged him right after, and then asked Eala whether she had ever received a note from a player or public figure after a significant win that meant something to her. She paused for a moment, mentioning Peggy, likely another competitor who had reached out the previous day after being tagged, and had even been present in her box during the Siegemund match. Then she added something that immediately changed the tone, saying that after Miami the previous year, when her phone was flooded with notifications, she was deliberately avoiding. Rafael Nadal had sent her a message, and she only opened it 4 days later, leaving one of the most accomplished figures in sport waiting with a delivered notification. For that entire time, the interviewer's reaction, pure amusement and disbelief, was exactly right, because it highlighted such a relatable moment. Her phone had been overwhelmed following one of the most remarkable stretches of her career, and she was focused on maintaining clarity, avoiding distraction, and protecting her mindset for matches still ahead. Somewhere in that flood sat a message from Rafael Nadal, unseen for 4 days while she was competing in a semi-final. When she eventually read it, she admitted she nearly panicked, which felt entirely appropriate. As for what he said, she chose not to reveal the details, only noting that he was extremely kind and that she apologized for the delayed response. She explained that she has had multiple opportunities to meet him in person through her time at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, where she trained from the age of 13, developing her skills within the environment he created, and that connection runs deeper than a simple exchange. It forms part of her journey, the principles reflected in her game, the persistence, the mental strength, the refusal to concede points, and the emotional commitment have been influenced by that system and further shaped under Tony Nadal, who now works with her directly. So when that message arrived, it was not just recognition from a global icon but acknowledgement from someone tied to her path. The interviewer noted that Nadal had seen her response. She laughed and said she thanked him and expressed appreciation, adding that she sees him often, so she gets to thank him frequently. That small remark reveals a lot about her composure in a space where receiving messages from Rafael Nadal is now normal. She is not overwhelmed, she is appreciative. She recognizes the importance. Without losing balance, she belongs in this environment. Now the discussion concluded with the possibility of facing Swiatek again in the third round, a matchup widely anticipated since the draw was announced. She said she would welcome it, expressing satisfaction in reaching that stage and viewing it as progress regardless of the opponent, which is precisely the mindset expected at that level. She secured the win, shared the Nadal anecdote, and made it clear she is prepared for whatever lies ahead. She left Rafael Nadal unread for 4 days, reacted exactly as anyone would upon discovering it, and then returned to defeat Siegemund in 3 sets. If Eala's Miami 2026 journey is not already one of the most compelling stories in sport right now, then you might be following the wrong event. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. What do you think Nadal said?